All right, we are live here on Hobby Hotline, episode 226. I felt like we did this once before. Maybe it's another show I'm thinking of. But joining me on this morning's Hobby Hotline, we've got in the upper right corner of your screen, Mr. Danny Black, who's live at the Babe Ruth
For the big party.
Museum. And he's about 20 feet away from the room that Babe Ruth was actually born in. Victor, below us only on the screen, is live at the Rookie Hall of Fame in the Chicago area. Victor Roman, rookie card specialist. Good morning.
Morning, John. Danny, are you sure we're live?
I don't know what's going on. I got Babe
So,
Ruth here with me.
so yeah, I think he's the ghost of Babe Ruth's
There you
messing
go.
with some stuff. So, all right, let's lead off with kind of an interesting and funny story. Let me put him on the screen here. The gentleman you see here, his name is Eamon Dixon. He's originally from Melbourne, Australia, but now lives in California. His day job is advertising, and had no plans to go to the Super Bowl. And a client called him and said, "Hey, I got an extra ticket if you want to go." He said, "Hey, all right, let me talk to my wife. If that's okay, I got to get a plane ticket. Let me work on that." Decided to go. By the time he got to Arizona, he got there just in time for the national anthem and made it to the game, but just in time. And you see him holding the ball here, and that ball is the game-winning field goal kicked by Harrison Butker, as most know who watched the game or followed the game, to win the game. He said, "Well, how did he catch the ball? There's a net. Harrison Butker booted it over that net. This gentleman actually filmed. He was filming the game-winning field goal live to capture the moment. And the next thing you know is the ball's flying towards him, and he hauls it in, and is going to be richer for it. So he went from morning of Super Bowl, not going to the game, planning to watch it on TV. And then he's there and he catches this ball that's going to go to apparently Golden's auctions and, be auctioned off. Just a crazy story. One other side piece to this story is he was part of the team that worked on the Doritos commercial that aired during the Super Bowl. And so, so just you couldn't have squeezed. It's almost like a Disney movie. So this ball, I've heard estimates anywhere from $500,000 to $3 million. Now, guys, we've heard that $3 million for a ball before. Stop me if you heard that before. You remember the Judge 60-second home run ball that wound up bringing $1.5 million. I mean, what do we think, Victor? I mean, what do you think here? I mean, just the whole story's kind of zany, and
It
now
is.
this guy's going to cash in on his luck.
I mean, what a day this guy had, huh? I mean, just to have a friend call you up in the morning and just say, "Hey, I got an extra ticket. You want to go?" It's like, wow, yeah, heck yeah, I want to go. And so, catching this ball is just such a Cinderella story, man. What an amazing day this young man had. And yeah, and to even add more drama to it, the kicker from Kansas City, he really struggled in the playoffs, and to really
Yeah.
get the game-winning field goal is just amazing.
I was just going to say, how is there as big of a market because Kansas City is a smaller team than if it was a different team that won the Super Bowl?
Good
Yeah,
point.
but well, you got a Yankee ball, right? If we're drawing the comparisons there, we got
Right.
a Yankee. But here's the thing, man: the Super Bowl, like everybody watch, like people who aren't football fans sit down and watch the Super Bowl. Like not everyone, not you're either a baseball fan or you're not. Like if you're not a baseball fan, I hate to say it, but you're probably not watching the World Series. It's 7 games potentially, at least 4. You're not going to be locked in. You might catch an inning or two, but whether you're a football fan or not, like Super Bowl is kind of much watch TV. So I everyone knows that stayed through the end about this kick or knows about it later on, after finding out what happened. So I think I get your point, Danny, that the provenance of it, Yankees versus Kansas City Chiefs, but the Chiefs have a long history too, and the fact that it's a Super Bowl ball, probably the
Yeah.
most watched sporting event most years. I know the World Cup took place this year, might alter those stats, but under normal circumstances, look, we all know a lot of people watch the Super Bowl, so a lot of people know about this ball or about this kick, how it won the game, and so
But how many people
I
are dropping that much money?
yeah, I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see what this brings. Um, it's I don't know. I think to me, I guess the way I would answer that is ask myself, which ball would you rather have? And the judge ball is great. Listen, I wouldn't kick either out of my card room, either ball, right? But you know, the judge ball is not the all time record, right? It's not this.
Right.
Whatever you
Right.
think of it, whatever you think of the Bonds record, and I'm not a fan of Bonds, but that is what people will. If you open the record book, that's who you're going to see, right? It's the American League record. This thing, like, there's only been like three like game winning Super Bowl balls. I think I read. So this is one of them. I know this is crazy. I think I would rather have this just because of the magnitude. It was the last play of the game. It's a walk off kick to win a Super Bowl. And a great Super Bowl in a 38-35 score with the Eagles and Chiefs. So I might be in the minority, but I'm taking the Super Bowl ball.
I'm on the same boat with you, John. I just think that fizzle on the Aaron Judge ball is not as quite as hot as this Super Bowl ball. And that Aaron Judge ball that fell short to the projected amount, correct?
It did.
Yeah.
He reportedly, now I don't know. Someone said he never really got an official offer, but early on it was reported that he turned down $3 million for the judge ball.
Ken Golden verified his attorney did get an offer.
So the 3 million is legit.
The offer was for more than it sold for. I don't
All
know
right.
if it was exactly three. Yeah.
Huh.
So with that judge ball, guys, I mean, I know it sounds funny. The guy, the ball sold for 1.5 million. But in a way, he lost money. In other words, he had a higher offer, didn't take it, and left money. He didn't lose money. Caught a ball on a $70 ticket, most likely, but he left money on the table. That's probably a better way
Yeah.
to say it. Um, this guy, I don't know if he's got any private offers before it goes to Golden. Only he knows. He hasn't made that. He hasn't made that public, but. Like Victor said, what a day, huh? You wake up, you having your coffee, planning your day, then watch the game later on your living room TV set with family, and the next thing you know, you're at the stadium, and then 3 hours later, you're catching the game-winning Super Bowl ball and about to cash it in. Everything, I see one comment, 100K, foul five ball says, "Hey, I rather have the judge ball."
I do agree with that.
Yeah, Adam says he should give 10% to the terrible official who made the garbage holding call to seal the game. Yeah, no, I don't think he needs to share that with the officials. But this one says, imagine if he was an Eagles fan, he would be very conflicted about his prosperity. Yeah, for sure. Imagine he was. I'm assuming he's a Niners fan, being from San Francisco, but I don't know that. He's originally from Australia. Um, but let's say he was an Eagles fan. I'd definitely be selling that, right? I don't want, like, it's cool I caught it, but I'd rather catch a missed field goal and sell that for a lot less and have my Eagles win. I'm not an Eagles fan, so, but there's so many different, I don't know. I don't see it bringing $3 million, personally, but who knows anymore? Like,
We'll see. Yeah.
so it's just crazy. Yeah, most people are saying they rather have the judge ball. 3 million. This is Rocco Rosado. 3 million. Give me a break. Just more golden hype. His act is getting old. Yeah, listen, he's a hype man, right? He's the, some of you might remember in boxing, Don King, the promoter. He's the Don King of sports cards and
Yeah.
memorabilia and auction. And that's his job, to tell you the
Right.
truth, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? We don't have to like it, and he doesn't really care whether we do or don't. So, this guy's gonna have a nice paycheck at the end of the day. That's really what it comes down to. Everything I read seems like a nice gentleman. Some of the other people that know him commented about him, and so it's an interesting story. And that's the thing. You don't have these. Here's why I think the ball might bring a little bit more, guys, is because the net goes up to knock those field goals down or extra points. This thing and most of the time they do, and this thing went over the net. So the fact that it was caught when it normally wouldn't have been,
Right.
I think we'll add a little incentive. I don't think it's going to be $3 million worth of incentive, but it might surprise. I think I'm going to guess between 500,000 and a million, and that's a guess.
I just can't think of another field goal, and maybe I'm wrong, that went anywhere near what the home run balls typically go for.
Yeah, but this is Super Bowl. Well, you can't think of another field goal because they don't make it over the net, and someone below catches and gives it probably to the kicker or the team that kicked it to put in
If
their
it was Mahomes
trophy
to
case.
Kelsey, that would be one thing.
Yeah, Logan Ward's playing Price is Right, and he's going 101 K. What? Well, let me ask you guys. We'll close this out, move on to our next topic. But I mean, do you think there's any chance, guys, this brings over $1 million?
I mean, I'd be shocked, but it only takes one person.
Yep.
I think it has a chance at 1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's to say? Here's a crazy thought, right? Who's to say? Like I said, normally the ball gets kicked into the net. It trickles down. One of the staff on the field staff retrieves it. And in that case, it probably goes to the team, right? It goes to the Chiefs or Harrison Bucker in this case, right? Who's to say? Listen, the Hunt family who own the Chiefs, very well to do, right? Let's say they
Mhm.
get in on the bidding. Say, hey, this belongs here in our trophy case in our corporate headquarters of the Kansas City Chiefs. And let's say they get, they could get in a bidding war with a private investor that's trying to get it, and maybe this thing does go over that $1 million mark. Maybe there's a Chiefs fan that has lots and lots of money that says, "Man, this is the ultimate Kansas City Chiefs piece of memorabilia, right? And I gotta have it." And I'm 60 years old and I got all this boatloads of money, and I'm getting this thing, and it's going to be here, and I want to have parties and have my friend. There's so many different ways. I think there's a chance. I predicted between 500K and a million. I think there's an outside chance it brings it brings over $1 million, depending on who gets involved. If the Chiefs themselves do, I think that's almost a given. But uh, we'll see. All right, guy. Any final comments before we go on to the next topic?
Sports MD card collector makes a good comment there, I think.
Wait, all right. Let's see. The friend with tickets should get. Yeah. Well, here's what I want. It's funny. He said that because I was thinking. I kind of told the backstory how this guy got a ticket last
Mhm.
minute. The way the article was written describing that, it was like it was given to him. Now, I don't know if the person called him up and said, "Hey, I got an extra ticket. If you want it, it's $2,000." I don't know if he bought the ticket that was made
Right.
or it was actually a free ticket, right? So let's say it was a free ticket. Let's just go on that premise that it's a free ticket. Well, either way, right? Either way, you should give that person, whoever gave them that opportunity to go, should get a cut. But if that was a free Super Bowl ticket, right? He definitely should be given that person a cut. Yeah, that's I thought about that. I'm like, was this a free ticket or just one made available where he could buy it and make the trip. Maybe at cost, which Super Bowl tickets, even at cost, are not cheap. So, but either way, right? He was afforded the opportunity to be there. It'd be a nice gesture. Everything I've read about the guy, I got a feeling that's going to happen. Sports Card MD. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see what it goes for. If his buddy gets a cut for giving him the ticket, and all that good stuff. So let's go on to our next topic, guys. And let me pull up the graphic here. It's Panini getting into the gaming business, sort of. We got Panini Monopoly. Panini and Hasbro, in this case, the owner of the Monopoly franchise, have come up with a Prism edition Monopoly. I have the Brooklyn edition Monopoly, but now we have the Prism edition Monopoly. And this is going to be a game you can buy, but it's also going to have packs and boxes uh, that apply to it. So it's going to be a 90 card set, guys, with booster packs. There's going to be inserts and parallels, much like the regular Prism. 6 packs per box, so very small box. 6 packs, 4 cards per pack, so a 24 card box. Um, and if you played Monopoly before, right, like you have properties like Boardwalk, Park Place, that sort of thing. The properties are going to be the cards themselves and the players themselves, replacing actual, streets and buildings. Coming out in mid-April. I don't have any pricing. Target will carry at the start, and then it will make its way to other stores. What do you think? Is this a game people are going to play, or is it people just going to another opportunity to get cards? How do you think so?
I think it's a game, and I think some people are going to take a chance, roll the dice, and try it.
I'm wondering, are we able to see the checklist of the 90 cards? I wonder.
I don't know if they've released it. I haven't seen it.
I'm just wondering if there's any
Yeah.
rookies in it, because that'll be
I
interesting.
got I gotta think. I see Logan says Ja will be Boardwalk, rich uncle prison bags. I
But
don't know.
yeah, a
I don't
couple.
know if they're gonna make little pieces like the little pewter pieces. Are they gonna be? I'm assuming they're gonna be basketball pewter pieces. Are they gonna be just generic? Are they gonna be patterned after like regular like real players? You're gonna see like the Jerry West pewter, the NBA logo and
Right.
pewter form. Like all this is we don't really know yet until this is comes out, but which is mid-April. But
I think it's a pretty cool oddball set. To me, a couple of things stand out.
yeah,
Nothing really new here. I mean, it's something that the hobby has done in the past,
yeah, yeah,
all the way back into the 1960s, right, where we had this type of stuff going on. So it's not a new concept, but I think it's also bringing it into the modern era. I think it's a good idea. I think there's a big draw with Pokemon and kids and the whole card gaming business that's really taken off. There's a lot of
yeah.
interest in that realm. So I think, this might be a good idea to kind of bring some attention to back to board games and sports cards. I think it's a good, I think it's a good gimmick.
Yeah, Jenny Miller says I think they're a day late and a dollar short on the Prism basketball now. If it was Topps baseball, that would sell more. The first thing I thought of, Victor and Danny, with this was, we know Panini's going to lose the license here to make basketball, and that goes over to Fanatics. Um, is is this just kind of a last, hey, let's grab some money on the way out the door type of thing? That's what it kind of feels like to me. Again, I'm just speculating or just my opinion, but anyone think the same thing or feel the same way?
He probably had to make the license agreement a while ago, with Parker Brothers or Hasbro. So they were probably already committed to that. So you might as well, take advantage of it since you've probably already paid for it.
Good point. Yep.
Yeah, they probably could get something like that done in a calendar year, potentially. Again, I don't know. I'm not behind those closed doors or in on those meetings or conversations, but it just I don't know. Are the packs going to be, where the box is going to be sold? Are they going to be put in the game aisle with the games, or are they going to be put in the card section of Target, the ones that still have them?
Victor brought up a good point. The popularity of the games, especially with kids, if it brings more kids into the hobby, then why not take a chance?
Yeah. Here's a comment from Webadu, uh, Web02. Sorry, maybe Monopoly Prism subtle protest from Panini against incoming Fanatics Overlords. Choice of game, not a coincidence. Yeah, I like that. And what he's saying basically is that's sort of a punch in the face to Fanatics for having a monopoly on all the licensing here in another year or two. Sort of,
It's got a prophetic message behind it.
yeah, pun intended, right? Pun intended. Yeah, I never thought of that. That's smart. It
I
makes
guess
sense.
it's better than Risk.
Well, that's what Fanatics is taking is the risk, and Panini saying, and you're going to have a monopoly on this thing. But we could probably keep going. But Victor makes a great point too. It is not the first time that the games world and the sports card world have collided or joined forces. We've seen some vintage era games where those cards now are actually quite valuable. They're graded, right? Milton Bradley cards, and I remember people grade Straight-O-Matic had some cards sometimes without kind of bland, but I had a game, I forgot what it's called, that had pictures of the players on it. You would build your lineup. It was a game. So this isn't new territory. I can't think of what was the last time it happened, sort of thing. So it's kind of making bigger news because it's more recent.
Can I just say that if we were to vote, I would take McDonald's Monopoly over Prism Monopoly. I'm a big,
Interesting.
yeah, I'm a big fan of the McDonald's Monopoly. If I have to choose a Monopoly game,
Well, I think what you're really saying, Dan, is you're just a bigger fan of McDonald's than playing board games.
there's some truth to that.
That's what I heard. Because if you're telling me, I can have the little McDonald, the little Monopoly guy, game piece after eating a cheeseburger, or I can have some prison basketball cards. I'll take the cards
I'm just
over the
saying, if they put
Monopoly
Kevin
guy.
Durant on the side of a milkshake, now we have something.
Yeah. And Logan Ward's having a blast in the chat room. He says, "I'm waiting on sorry, Prism." So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see once the packs and boxes are released. How they're treated. Is the general hobby public just going to buy them for the cards? I think we all know the answer is probably going to be yes to that. Are people who are legitimately playing the game going to be mad because all the card people are buying up the booster packs just to keep the cards and they can't get it, right? Might that be a possibility, too? So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Whether regardless of, like Danny said, when the deal went down, I think this is sort of Panini saying, "Hey, let's max out as best we can, on our license while we still have it." Uh, any closing thoughts, guys, on this one?
I just want to know who's going directly to jail.
Yeah, I saw Logan said something like Zion Williamson's Baltic Avenue. We could probably do 20 minutes of I think it'd be Russell Westbrook. It will be the go to jail piece on the board. So that's just off the top of my head. But yeah, Victor brings a great point too. Is who's on the checklist, right? Is that 90 cards? What can
Yeah.
and
I mean, if there's a
you
hot
know
rookie in there. Look out. Look out. You don't
Yeah,
never
why did
know.
I know Victor was going to come with a? But no,
You
he's
know how it
right.
is.
I'm
Yep.
I'm joking, but it's true, right?
Yeah.
Rookies drive these products,
Hmm.
right? Like so it'll be interesting to see. I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is. We just don't know the checklist. And you're gonna have your veteran players. You're gonna have your LeBrons and your Steph Currys. So how many rookies make it out of the 90? That'll be interesting too to see. That'll be an argument that collectors will have. Like this rookie didn't get in the game, and this one did. It should be the other way around. So
What grading company is going to release a special monopoly offer is what I want to know.
that monopoly offer.
McDonald's.
850 a card if you send in monopoly.
Yeah, or they'll make a special designed slab
There
for
you
it,
go.
right? With
There you go.
the little Monopoly guy in each of the four corners or something. So, uh, Logan Ward says, but the rookies won't be pack issued, and they might not. That might be cards do come with the game itself, so maybe they'll just be standard issue, and that's the other thing. If that's the case, right, guys? If there's cards in the game that aren't in the packs, now we're talking about manufactured scarcity, right? Those two words everyone loves. So now the cards that come in the game itself that you have to buy the game and open it and pull those cards out, those will have a perceived more value, right? Because there'll be less of them, most likely. If they're issuing boxes and packs, the ones that already come in the game, if they don't reissue the same exact cards in the pack out, now those game cards actually have, to me, a higher perceived value because you can't pull them out of packs. You have to actually find a game on the shelf, buy it, go home, open up your game, and then pull those cards out and sell them, right? If that's what you do, right? And
Right.
so there's that angle as well. So there's a lot of different layers to this. We don't know the checklist. We don't, that's a scenario. I don't know if they're going
Yeah.
to actually do that.
And
Maybe they go ahead, Victor.
unfortunately, I think that might be one of the downsides to this type of concept. Now, if we use it in its purest form and actually play the game and trade with other people, but it's going to turn into we're going to bust open the game, we're going to pull the packs and probably toss the game, right? And just um, put these cards on the secondary market as an option and start sending them in for grading and all that sort of things. I don't know. You know, we'll see.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head, Rick. I think again not 100%, but I think a high percentage. That's excuse me. That's what's going to happen. So
Yeah.
all right.
That's what happens when you have whiskey in the morning.
Bailey's Irish Cream in a metal solo cup.
On ice.
All right, Danny, you're at the Baltimore, or I keep saying, but it's in Baltimore, the Babe Ruth birthplace and museum. Kind of talk about what you're doing, where you're located at the moment, and there's a particular card you're very close to right now.
Yeah, and I apologize for the background noise. They're having a huge party today celebrating Babe Ruth's birthday bash. His birthday was a couple weeks ago, and they have this big party every year. So the museum is full today. I am set up in the room right next to the bed Babe Ruth was born in, and I am a couple feet from that, and a couple feet in the other direction is the 1914 News American Babe Ruth that was on collectible originally, and whenever you want, I'm going to put myself on mute, and I'll give you guys a little bit of a tour of the museum around here if you want. You can see behind me. This is all the original part of the house. So this is all original to. It was actually his grandparents' home that he was born in.
So I'm a paranormal guy. I love all those shows. Is there any Is there any rumors that like Babe Ruth ghost is seen there?
Only with the electronics getting the show started today. Otherwise, it's pretty good.
Yeah. So, how many
75
people? Is
Sorry,
there a good?
it's also a card show today.
Is there a good crowd there right now, or is it? I know it goes to 4.
Yeah, it's wall to wall in here. It's really awesome. Baltimore's got some bad weather today, but people are coming out in support. It's I don't know if you can just hear the noise. It's everywhere. They got multiple floors, and they got 3 houses together. And the exhibits are unbelievable. I'm going to try to show you some stuff. I got my phone set up, so whenever you want to send me out,
Well, we're talking about it. Let's do it. You want me to bring that other phone in the room?
Yeah, I'm gonna switch here and give you guys the tour.
Cool.
All right. If you make anyone dizzy, we're not responsible. Just a disclaimer.
I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Hey, Danny, if you can narrate kind of like if there's something of significance and you want to talk about it.
I can't hear him now.
Yeah,
I think he's muted. You see the microphone on his next to his name? He's muted.
Yeah. Let me see. Maybe I can unmute him.
Nice. Look at that one.
All right. So what you're looking at here is the Baltimore News Babe Ruth SGC3. This was on Collectibles Fractionals platform. I owned some shares of it. Originally, I think it went for $6.6 million. The owner of that card put in that deal that he has the option to buy all the fractional shares back and take ownership again. He did that, and it cost him $8 million to do it. This card, the Baltimore News card, is arguably one of the rarest cards, in the world. Most people will tell you there's more T226 Honus Wagners than the Baltimore News Babe Ruth. We can get into the rookie card debate. He's in the Baltimore Orioles uniform on that card, Victor, and that's a minor league team at the time. So
right.
This was before.
In 1914, the Baltimore Orioles were a double-A affiliate, I believe.
Yeah. So it's in a sense a minor league card, but Babe Ruth's first appearance on a card there. I believe they were distributed in the Baltimore News newspapers. Many did not survive, obviously, over the years. And if this ever went to auction, like a regular auction, not a fractional, I think it becomes the next record breaker, right? We all know the 9.5 Mantle holds that belt right now. Most predict this would trump that in terms of price. So I don't know if that's going to happen. There's very few of these. I know
6,
I just had
6 to be known in existence, I think.
Yeah, I think so. It's really, really low. No one really knows. That's how low there is, right? So, I just had Brian Dwyer on from REA, and he says he would love to get to auction. I asked him if there's a card he's not really, auctioned or handled, and he said that would be on the top of his list. And he predicted one of the reasons is it would be the new record setter in his mind. It would take that title belt away from the 9.5 Mano. Danny, can you speak?
I can now. Sorry about that. There's multiple media crews here.
So we're obviously talking about that that Mantle card. People call it Mantle card. Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth. They call it the rookie, or and whether you want to with Victor, whether we call it a rookie or an XRC or whatever, it's an extremely important
Well,
card.
for Baltimore, it's his only Baltimore Orioles card.
Yeah,
So the significance is not so much on the rookie as much as it's the only example of him in a Baltimore uniform. So for
right.
us as our hometown guy, somebody born right in the heart of Baltimore, to have that one example
Mhm.
is not as important as maybe his actual rookie card. It's the fact that it shows him, and Victor's correct, it was the Baltimore minor leagues under
Mhm.
Jack Dunn, who he was playing for. And the card was distributed through the local newspaper. So this is very much a Baltimore item. This was not a national issue.
Yeah.
This was the Baltimore News American was the paper. So that's why there's so few out there, because how many people keep their grocery store inserts.
All right.
So, how many, Danny? How many do you think? I mean, you know about the card. How many think have survived?
I've heard in varying conditions approximately 8 to 10 at the most, but most of them the conditions are pretty rough.
So that three that's there is probably one of the better shaped one, most likely.
I don't know that this is fact. I've heard it's the second highest that I know, but that's only what I've been told.
Yeah. And so talk about, and I keep firing questions at you.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, talk about the security around that card at the museum.
Well,
I don't know if you want to do like Ocean's 13, and we
if you
could,
click the
me, you,
third
and Victor
floorboard,
could.
there's a key under the third floorboard. No, I mean it is. I mean, let's just say the card's not going anywhere. Suffice to say. I mean, I don't know if you saw any of the other items I showed you, but Baber's Presidential Medal of
Metal.
Freedom, the
Yeah.
the, the bat he used in 1927. I mean, it's not just the card that has tremendous value here. I mean, this whole museum is just is literally that. It's just a museum. And if you're a baseball lover or hobby lover, it's room after room after room. Could have done an hour on the tour today. Maybe we'll do that. You know, does Danny have the
Well,
express written permission of the Babe Ruth Museum? Yes, Danny asked to express permission. And Michael Gibbons, who's the director emeritus, John, I know has been on your show.
yeah, yeah, great guy, and that card. When you think about that there's so very few exist. I do know the glass from having Michael Gibbons on the show. The glass is shatter and bulletproof. So if you think you're gonna get it that way and just make a beeline for the exit, don't bother trying. Just hold out your hands and just say handcuff me before I try this. But
Can I just say one thing?
yeah,
I am here for the Babe's birthday bash, but it's important that the Babe Ruth Museum is a nonprofit museum, and I can't stress enough the importance of supporting. For me, the Babe Ruth Museum personally. So if anybody is interested in the chat, just go to baberuthmuseum.org, and you can make a small donation, but it's for a very worthy cause in a museum that could use all the support for a real part of baseball history.
yeah, I believe they don't get any sort of financial assistance. So all their
Correct.
money raised to keep the upkeep is from people paying to get in and donations. So
Correct.
no doubt. And that building, if anyone listened to Michael Gibbons on my show, that building almost got destroyed and tore down. It was saved at the last minute, which if that thing would have got tore down, that would have been
Hmm.
a terrible thing. I mean, it's
Yeah. And
so
not only that, it shows a lot of the baseball history that Babe Ruth happened to be involved in. The trip to Korea, they have his kimono that he wore in Japan. They have the 1932 cold shot film where you can see some sort of gesture towards center field and the narration. So it's just incredibly cool if you're ever in Baltimore.
a couple comments here. Security is big. The Hickok belt was stolen from the Roger Maris Museum a few years back. Yeah, Michael Gibbons didn't give me all. He couldn't give me all the details, but he said it is very, very secure, and they don't worry. they worry, but they don't worry too much. They're very confident in the security there. Fitz cards. As a kid who collected everything in the 80s with little to show for it, I'm drawn to minor leagues and Tiffany cards for their lower pop counts. What are your thoughts on cards from that era? Yeah, I mean Tiffany, tops Tiffany, especially in the rookies, have have increased. Right, they're definitely a higher quality, better looking card. They're when someone's super collecting a player or just looking for the best tops rookie card they can get of said player, the first thing you're going to type in is Tiffany usually, if they're in a set that has a Tiffany edition. So I'm a minor league card guy. I have two shoe boxes full of superstar minor league sets. I just think they're undervalued as a whole. I just think many didn't survive. Many just brought to the games and get signed, which is kind of what they were designed to do, and beat up. And when those cards didn't get signed, they just got thrown sort of in a pile or in a box. And so I like them, but again, that's I'm only speaking
Yeah, and
from myself.
I would tell Fitz cards also, historically, Tiffany cards had never been recognized as true rookie cards only because of their distribution method. So all through the 80s and 90s, those were never considered rookie cards. But the hobby has evolved, and they are um, pursued by hobbyists today. And even I have changed my stance on parallel rookie cards pertaining to Tiffany's, and I consider it a parallel set, right? But I do consider them legit rookie cards because the hobby's evolved. But I would also say, I know your point because I grew up in the 80s too, and I love that era, but there isn't much there. So, minor league cards and Tiffany cards are an option. And don't forget, if that's your angle, O-Pee-Chee brand is also can be thrown into that equation as something that is low pop.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, in many cases, Victor, you're right. The OPG, an OPG box actually is a higher price tag than its tops counterpart part
Yep.
because there's
It's
less
that
of them,
era.
right?
In that era.
Yeah, there's people who collect OPG just because of that. And for those that don't know, we assume everyone knows, but that's not
Right.
always the case.
Mhm.
Tiffany's cards were made in factory sets. They come in.
Mhm.
So to get a Tiffany edition card, someone would have to break a set or purchase the card from a set.
I
So
was going to say also Desert Storm. If people are not familiar
yeah.
from that era, if you're looking for some value in low pop, it's another good set.
Yep.
Yeah, a little humor here because we like to have a little fun. Logan, who's I don't know what Logan had for breakfast this morning, but he says I like Debbie Gibson way more than I do too. Debbie Gibson's from Long Island, New York, so if it's Debbie Gibson over Tiffany in this house as well. And here's the other thing: can you imagine? Going a little bit off tangent, but based on what we just, can you imagine if Tops did a Tiffany? Rather than do it in a set, they actually released their product that was Tiffany level quality, but in packs. It would be so odd because the packs could get beat up, right? So how many people are going to complain? I bought the Topps Tiffany box, and it came out all with ding corners, right? This is supposed to be a Tiffany product, so probably why they don't do that. But I wonder now with Fanatics taking over, might we see a return to Tiffany and in a different sort of distribution? What do you guys think?
I think putting it in a tin, I mean, you can get around that. There's ways to do it. I think there's a lot of people that would love to be able to buy Tiffany, not as the whole set. I don't know if that's the best thing for the market for Tiffany, but I think that'd be very cool to be able to get, a pack of even 4 or 5 cards in a small tin.
Yeah, or what? Like, listen, like Panini does National Treasures and Flawless. Maybe Tops does Tiffany. That's in a briefcase, right? They call it Tiffany, and it's in that metal case, and we know what it's patterned after. They can't call it Flawless or National Treasures because Panini owns those naming.
Well, they can in a year or two. They can.
Well, they can't use National Treasures or Flawless unless they buy Panini, which like I did some months back, it would be called Fanini at that point. But but
Good
to,
point.
yeah, but to use National Treasures or Flawless, they'd have to buy or acquire uh, Panini. So if they don't, though, they can market it. You'll know what they're patterning the product after. It may just be called
And
something different.
I
So
know, if you're shopping for a Tiffany set from the 80s, I would be extremely cautious because they have been heavily known to
yeah,
been opened up. They have a little foil seal on them,
yeah,
and that seal has been um, what do you
reprinted.
call it? Yeah, printed,
Yeah,
and fake ones have been put on or back on there once they go through the set. So what they're doing is they'll open it up, look to see if the key cards are centered, worthy of
yep,
grading, and they'll replace it and then put a new seal on it. And so even the wrapper has been um, fabricated as well. So be very cautious
yeah.
when shopping for that. Yeah.
Yeah, great point, Victor. I've even heard people go as far as open those up, take out the Tiffany set, put in a basic set in there,
Mm.
close it, shrink wrap it with a shrink wrapper, like you
Hmm.
said, made a compatible, a comparable foil seal, and put that on and shrink wrap it, and someone buys the Tiffany set, and if
Can
they
we?
don't open it, it's in their closet or on their shelf, and they think they own a Tiffany set, and
Yeah.
inside is a base set. And if they do open it, they're going to be very upset when they look at the base set they just bought at a Tiffany price. It's sad that
Yeah.
occurs
Hmm.
on our hobby, but good on you to sort of point that out because
Yeah. And there was
it's
only
important.
5,000 of them made. So, I mean, there's not much out there and they're pretty popular. So to see somebody that has multiple factory sets for sale, it's like, I don't know about that. Be careful. That's all.
Yeah, it's I guess buy from a reputable
Mhm.
dealer. I there if I would think the base set would weigh less than the Tiffany set. It's thicker cardstock, so if you know sort of the weights and it's a sealed Tiffany set, and you can weigh it and it matches up to specs, then there's at least it, like you said, Victor. It could still be open and a couple cards taken out and switched out, but at least the
Yeah.
chances are less likely based on the weight.
I was just going to say also, this was not a YouTube video on how to fake the Tiffany set. There was a lot of detail we just gave out there. Uh,
Well, listen,
so this is also one of those products that not everything is a great online purchase. Maybe in person.
yeah,
In general, if you're concerned about a product, I think we all love going to card shows and local card shops. And that's always a good option for Tiffany.
I think more people buy Tiffany singles than probably the sets at this point nowadays.
Yeah.
If you're just trying to buy like an investment piece, people probably shrugging their shoulders there. But some people, hey, I want to buy the rookie card, but the Tiffany edition. I'm sure there's demand for Tiffany sets, but I would think the demand for singles is definitely greater nowadays than the sets themselves, especially when that like Victor pointed out, things can be switcheroo-skied and duped and that sort of thing. And most people would just, if you're going to buy a Tiffany card, it's going to cost you. You're probably just going to buy a graded one already in many cases. All right, guys, our last topic, not our best one, but we saved it for last, and we've all seen sort of what happened to NFTs. That bottom sort of fell out. I've never been an NFT guy. I've given them away as part of a promo on the show in correlation with Candy Digital. They were nice enough to give listeners some free digital cards, but not my thing. But Top Shot, which is owned by Dapper Labs, Dapper Labs is being sued by three individuals named Gary Luis, Ji Un Freak, and Jillian Austin. And they're being sued because they can't get their money out of the platform, and their money's tied up. And Dapper Labs tried to get the case thrown out, saying, "Hey, this is just a fun kind of game sort of thing, not unregistered securities." And the judge disagreed and says, "No, this is unregistered securities, and this lawsuit can proceed forward." So this will go to court and proceed as scheduled. Top Shot's attempt to get this dismissed failed. NFTs, like I said, I already gave my stance. Not my thing. These three individuals. I apologize if I said their name wrong. I don't know them. I'm just reading my notes. Um, they have a good case here, and if they win this case, most likely, this could be the end of NFTs as we know it. Your guys' thoughts as far as whether you like NFTs, you do them, and this case itself.
I'll admit that I bought into Top Shot at the very beginning just so I could become familiar with the platform. I wanted to be able to at least know what it was about and give good advice on it. I've never gotten my money out of it, and I own a whole bunch of Top Shot cards. I assume it's just a sunk cost at this point. So I hope they come to some resolution for people that own these because they've gotten killed.
Yeah, me personally, John, I've never dove into the NFT side of things. I just never sat right with me. I didn't like the concept, and I
Yeah.
never. I did do fractionals. I did dive into that, but not NFTs in no way. I don't know nothing about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's basically owning a digital moment, a digital like a video or a picture.
Right.
In some cases, I like to Photoshop those for free, but I get some of the lore to it. It's I'm sort of the older guy when it comes to in my but I the younger set, which is where I think it was marketed for, right? So I'll ask Danny though, like how much money? I'll put you on the spot here, man. I don't want how much money you have on the platform that you can't get to right now.
Oh, very little, probably under $100.
Have you tried to pull it out or no? Not even.
No, I'm holding out for the comeback. I'm riding the Top Shot wave. Top Shot to the moon.
There you go.
Well, Logan doesn't agree with you. Logan, I don't know what's going on there.
He's
Flop
heavily
shot.
caffeinated this
I think
morning.
I
Yeah,
think
I don't know.
Logan's driving in circles too much. Make a right turn, Logan.
Fitz Card, another great comment. Going back to our previous topic, the print run for those 89 Fleer Glossy was shorter than prior years. May hold better. Yeah, that's it. That was Fleer's version. Remember the Fleer Glossy updates and regular sets? I still
Yeah.
have some of those in my closet.
The
And
era of competition, that's for sure.
yeah, and it'll be interesting, Victor, kind of as we wind down here with Fanatics kind of taking over basketball, football. We're going to see obviously the return most likely of Topps Chrome basketball and football, and many brands that people miss are going to return. But it'll be interesting to see what new stuff they develop, right? What new
Yeah.
innovations. I will say this, there's going to be plenty of it to go around, but I really do like the 2023 Topps design. And I don't know if Fanatics should get credit because many of the designs come actually years in advance. So I don't want to say it's because of Fanatics, but it's probably one of the better designs in probably the last 5, 6 years of flagship. So it'd be interesting to see what new products might hit the market eventually, and what they're going to be like. We talked about
Mhm.
Tiffany. Might they do something like that again, and maybe a different form, or their take on Flawless or National Treasures if they don't buy Panini. Kind of your thoughts here with as we're getting closer to this day. You know what I mean?
I just think a little respect for Fanatics for not coming in and changing everything off the bat. They seem like they've taken a good amount of time to just kind of get a lay of the land. I don't think we've seen anything drastic. They're not throwing their name or label on cards or, anything that I think people had immediate freakouts about. They're not renaming tops. So I think they have a respect for the history of the hobby. Of course, they're going to try to improve it, but they do seem to be talking about a lot of the improvements on the marketing side. That it doesn't seem like they have a ton of incentive to really change the core of the product away from the collector. So I'm hoping that it's more innovation and with marketing and just bringing maybe the hobby into the 21st century. Um, and not I really like this base set and I'm flagship set. And I'm very happy.
Yeah.
Here's a comment, if I may, here from the Battery, Carlisle Road. Do any of the Fanatics exclusive agreements cap the number of sets products they can produce? Great question. If there is, and I imagine there must be, they haven't announced it, or I haven't heard.
Yeah.
It
And
typically, traditionally, Victor, it's about 35 per sport, but that's not etched in stone. That those agreements can be redone. You can get amendments, and hey, listen, we want to do a 36 set. It's a great idea. It's going to promote this. We're going to give half of it to charity. I mean, there's ways around to still, go above and beyond what any initial contract. The other thing you got to keep in mind here is the players now have a seat at the equity table. This is unlike anything prior before. The players were not sort of involved in the contract process, and now they hold an equity stake. So when you hold an equity stake as an athlete, as a player, you're getting more of that pie. So if you're getting more of that pie, you're probably less likely to say, "Hey, we don't want a ton of sets," or you got to limit how much we appear on cardboard or chrome. So I know it was around 35 in previous contracts with the Players Association, but now you got the players themselves involved. So that number could be higher for all we know. Your thoughts there, Victor?
yeah, well, and I think the players' representation is the players' association, the union. My gripe has been for many years now is that the hobby has no representation at these
Yeah.
at the table when these types of decisions are being made. It's typically between the card manufacturers and the players association, and the public is not privy to these contracts, so we don't know details, or we don't know how
Only
things
what they tell us. Sometimes,
only what they
yeah,
want. You're on a need to know basis, right?
yeah. Sometimes they do release
Yeah,
some of that info, but they're
but
not telling you
they're not
the big
telling you
picture.
everything, right? And
I,
that's go ahead.
yeah, I want to just, a word as why would there be caps? Many reasons. Let me start off with before Fanatics kind of got all the licensing right. This was Tops or Panini or other Upper Deck, negotiating with the player association, right? And so if you're a player and you agree on a price, right? It's that price is based on, hey, you can use my name, image, and likeness this many times in this many sets for this price, right? You don't give a card company carte blanche to make 100 sets with you for one price. Now, again, every contract's different, so I don't want to paint with a broad brush. So that's why they're caps. The other thing is the Players Association does care about saturation. In other words, if Topps made 100 baseball card releases, right, that can hurt the industry, right? It's just too much. People will be up in arms, like, man, there's a release every other day. Like, this is ridiculous. I'm getting out of cards, right? So there's that tip the scales as well. So there are caps. Now, like I said, uh, every contract's different. Maybe there are certain contracts where they don't put a cap on releases or how many products a company can make. But generally, that's one of probably the top line items that both parties have to agree to. Sometimes I think that might be negotiated even before the dollar signs do. Hey, you can make 25 products, you can make 45 products. Now let's talk about what that's going to cost you and what we need to get for those 45 products. So I'd be very surprised if there are no caps in these new deals. But the big outlier here is now for the first time, folks, is players have a stake. They own part of
Right.
Fanatics and that sort of thing. So they're going to be making money along with Fanatics, and so it's going to be, you know, yeah, you're welcome. You said thank you and never get. Yeah, if you don't think about that, you know, why would you? Why would you, under normal circumstances, maybe even, you know, it's just because I've been doing this too long, I guess. But you know, it'll be interesting to see, you know,
I,
what those caps might be, Victor. Now that the
yeah.
players have an equity stake, are they going to go up?
I don't know
Are
if
they
it's
going to?
changed. Yeah, but it's been about between 39 and 42 different products every year
Yeah,
for like the last 5 years. So I don't know.
yeah.
Will that change? We'll see.
You know, the number I've always been told is 35, 36, which is right along line with
Yeah.
what you just said. The company can always go back to the Players Association and say, look, I know this wasn't part of the original agreement. Here's our thoughts with this. We can pay you an additional, we'll give you a percentage of this release. Can we do it? And they just have to give a thumbs up, and then you get one that wasn't originally scheduled.
But
So
but
yeah, go ahead.
I do want to like add turning the page here because I know we're just about done. But um, here's my thing, and it kind of leads into what we're talking about right now, and that is Topps 2023 was released last week, and this week I believe they're releasing another 2022 product, and I just think that really needs to be okay. When are we going to put an end to 2022? No sooner as 2023 is released, 2022 should be left behind. And I'm even hearing Upper Deck released a 2021, no, a 2020, 2021, the cup, and the product's 3 years old, and it's just now being released, and it's like, wow.
Bobby Hull's rookie card comes out next year.
I feel like we went when you say, and I do know about that. It's an
Yeah,
interesting point. 2021 Cup. It's like we went in the DeLorean and went back to go
yeah,
get some. You know, with Dr. Emmett Brown. Like, let's go get some cup from 2 years ago. But we don't even have to go in the DeLorean. It's coming to us. Yeah,
yeah.
it is crazy. But you know why, Victor? I mean,
Yeah, I've been
it's
I've been
money, right?
I've been given it grace because of COVID and the
Yeah.
whole material and logistics of all of that. But it's like, okay, guys, I mean, we're you know, is this going to be like a every year thing? We're just going to release stuff, you know, years in advance or
The
years
reverse.
in
I
reverse.
always thought I always thought it was funny with cars, right? Like the new Ford commercial. It's 2022, and they're like, "Get the new 2024 Ford Focus."
Yeah,
I'm like, 2020. It's 20. How do you make it a car 2 years in the right? It's
but
going
here,
to be the
but
opposite in cars, right?
but here's the jacked up part, John. 2020 Cup is going to sell out.
Oh yeah, it will, and you make a great point, Victor. Like maybe why not just put a kibosh and like
Yeah,
don't make it like as much as that would stink. It's just kind of that the ship has sort of sailed,
let's move
you
on.
know, and
Right.
let it go. But the reason they don't is dollar signs, right? Because again,
Yeah.
they're allotted so many sets they can make per year. That's where the year comes in. Is that falls even though it's coming out in 2023, it actually falls under the contract of 2020-21. It doesn't count against the 23
Yeah.
contract. So if they don't do it, they're going to lose. Frank, truth be told, they would just be shooting themselves in the foot financially by not producing the set. I agree with you. It's sort of like,
They're going to
man,
make
that
money.
ship.
They're going to make
Yeah,
money regardless. I don't care what they put out. It's going to sell out. So I
Let's
mean,
see. I'm guessing this is
I don't know if
yeah.
that's even.
It's 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 not like they're putting Michael Rubin in a Superman costume and trying to sell a couple cards.
Not yet. Not yet. That might be coming. Maybe it'll be a redemption, Ruben. has a nice alliteration right there. Redemption Ruben. The Ruben Redemption. So all right, guys. Well, Danny, we'll do some parting words and we'll wrap it up. You're at the museum to 4, and listen, this is not a telethon, but this is an organization that relies on donations. That's in the chat room. That link. Uh, every little bit, I had Michael Gibbons on the show. Every little bit helps. $1, $5, whatever you can do. If you're a baseball fan, a card fan, a Yankee fan, a Babe Ruth guy, or you root for the Orioles, we should be paying you. But in this case, give to the cause. But Danny, any kind of final words here before we call it a show?
No, I'm glad I was able to do this live from here, and I mean the excitement in the building. If you're anywhere nearby, definitely come on down. This is just a big party here. So happy birthday to Babe.
Yeah, on my list to get to Baltimore, hang out with Danny, and definitely check out the Babe Ruth Museum there. Victor, what do you got going on this
Yeah,
weekend?
just wanted to thank Danny, man. I love that we were able to see the Baltimore News pre-rookie card of Babe Ruth and just live. I mean, how cool is that? Thank you, Danny, for
Yeah,
showing us that.
it is cool.
And yeah, man, I just keep on hobbying.
Yeah, if you see that card on Danny's eBay, something crazy happened, and it probably is not real. But
I'm going to forge my Tiffany now.
all right, guys. Again, kudos to Danny dealing with the crowd and some background noise, but giving us a tour. And like Victor said, how often you get to see that card live on a video podcast, right? So appreciate him taking time out of his day to make it happen. But with that being said, we thank all you out there watching or listening on audio. Without you guys, we don't do a show. We don't exist, and we appreciate that as well. On Tuesday's show, let me pull it up. We've got Erica, Herman, and Drew Herndon. That'll be Tuesday. And then we'll be back here on Bench Clear on Saturday once again. So for Victor, for Danny, we're going to call it a Hobby Hotline 226, and we'll see you very soon. Take care.